Good morning, everybody. We need to go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everybody out to our new year. We're starting a new year. Can you believe it already? Here it is already July 1st, new fiscal year coming up. That's amazing. Of course, the ladies in the office, their fiscal year is every day. They start over constantly. But we'll start out today with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have anybody online too? Welcome them online joining our meeting today. First off, we need to approve the minutes of the special meeting and work session held on June 24th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
And I'll second the motion.
I'll make that unanimous. Also, a motion to approve the demands and handwritten warrants.
I'll move that we go ahead and pay our bills and in a timely fashion.
I'll second that.
Make that unanimous. Thank you, guys. First up, we have our county attorney, Scott Bennett.
Good morning. Morning. Thank you so much. You know, I'm blessed to have incredible people working for me because I walked in and I'll go ahead and put this on the record. I took a vacation last week and was in Texas, and I looked down, I'm like, oh, I'm on the agenda. And my chief civil deputy, Jean Roof, not only put together this contract, got everything worked out, but got it on the agenda. And I just want to publicly thank her for that. Ultimately, what we're dealing with is in the past, we have used LexisNexis for our legal research. We've had a contract, I don't know when it started, but the entire time I've been here in Graham County, we've been using LexisNexis. And I believe not only my office, but the judges, and we even had a couple of accounts or licenses for others associated with the insurance pool. After looking at what we were being provided and the other options out there, we have decided that we would like to go with Westlaw. Westlaw, I believe, is the superior product. It's honestly the norm. It's my understanding that of the county attorney's offices in the state of Arizona, up until right now, 14 of them have been using Westlaw, and we have been the one using Lexis. I can tell you every place that I've worked prior to my tenure with Graham County, we used Westlaw. While I haven't used it for the last 13 years because I've been using Lexis, I suspect it will be like riding a bike. I'll be able to jump on, assuming the board approves this contract. So ultimately, we are asking for the approval of this contract. We would like to go ahead and begin a new relationship with Westlaw and use them as our legal resource provider.
Okay. Thank you. Discussion or motion?
Chairman, I had a question.
Sure.
Welcome back. No place like home. The question is, as you transition from Lexis to Westlaw, has the Lexis contract terminated? Is this the renewal time, or are we going to leave some money on the table as we do the transition?
You know, perhaps my understanding is we have a couple of months, and I'm going to ask, maybe Ms. Roof could join me. She has taken the bull by the horn, so to speak, and has not only negotiated our contracts, but she has the information.
Okay.
And perhaps I'll put her on the spot and let her answer that question.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yes, the contract will expire August 31st of this year, and so it is the renewal period, so we're just choosing not to renew.
Okay.
The Westlaw contract, we will not start getting billed for that until September, so there will not be an overlap in terms of fees.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
That's ideal. Okay, thank you. That's all I got, Mr. Chairman. I'll go ahead. I think the $1,300 a month, and I like the fact that they're definite that their increases will be 3% a year, and so that's reasonable for a 3-year contract. So I would recommend and would move that we go ahead and accept or approve of this subscription with Westlaw for our county attorney and for our legal division.
I'll second that.
Make that unanimous, but Scott, you did make a comment about riding a bike. It's like riding a bike. I heard you fell off one here, so be careful.
Boy, I could have wished to not have that on the record. Just glad you're not going to make me show my road rash.
I had to throw that at you.
Thank you, everyone.
Next, we have Donna McGoy.
Good morning, gentlemen. I have 4 IGAs today, intergovernmental agreements between Dan Hinton School / Graham County Special Services and 4 of our districts that form the consortium. And I will start with the IGA for Pima Unified School District. And as a little bit of background, Dan Hinton School has been in existence since 1970. It was formed by the county school superintendent and concerned parents back then who wanted something for their children, whether it was all the way from preschool to age 22, and it has been a very robust option for these 4 districts that form the consortium. And so the funding is not, it comes before you, but there's no funding from Graham County. The funding all comes as the consortium members pay into it. So I'd like to ask for approval of the Pima Unified School District IGA first.
Questions, comment?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, each of these, the only difference between each of these requests or special services contracts is the school district. So I think we can go through this. Appreciate the role of the county school superintendent and in being the facilitating this and making sure it runs well. And so I'd go ahead and make a motion that we approve the IGA with Pima, for Pima, for the Graham County Special Services Consortium.
I'll second that.
Make it unanimous?
And the next one is the IGA with Thatcher Unified School District.
Same discussion? Motion?
I'll move that we approve the IGA for the Thatcher Unified School District for a Special Services Consortium for Graham County.
I'll second that.
Make that unanimous as well.
And the third IGA is with Fort Thomas Unified School District.
Have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the IGA with Fort Thomas Unified School District.
I'll second that.
Make that unanimous also.
And the final one is with Bonita Elementary School District.
I'll make a motion for that one also.
And I'll second Vice Chairman Mack's motion.
Make that unanimous as well.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and I also want to thank Jean Ruff for the work that she has done on these 4, because these have to go through many, 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 many people before they get back to me and then finally to you. And I appreciate it because there's a lot, and she catches a lot of things that need to be caught and fixed and improved upon. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Donna, for your hard work. Next, we have Mindy Young, representing Michael Peterson, Superior Court.
Good morning. Today, I'm here to ask for approval of a fiscal year 25 adult indigent defense agreement with attorney Stephen Robertson. The county has so graciously approved another full-time adult indigent defense contract for fiscal year 25 due to our high case numbers. Attorney Robertson was the attorney who was previously appointed on the conflict case. As you guys remember, we had a conflict case. We had to reach out to another outside agency to take the case. He has since left Katsarelis Law and branched out and opened his own law firm. So Katsarelis is doing the conflict contract, and he's going to take the full-time adult contract. There's a lot of information in the agenda item, but I can go through it if you need me to. So I'm just requesting approval of Attorney Robertson's contract.
Questions, comments, motion?
Mr. Chairman, it's about $116,000 for this contract. It's necessary. We're required to because of the numbers to provide the representation. And so even though we're seeing an increase in our in the budget for indigent defense representation, it's part of our legal system and necessary, and people are innocent until they're proven guilty, and so we you know, we will strongly support our county attorney and sheriff's office, and then also the citizens who are in harm's way. And I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve this indigent defense agreement.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
I will make that unanimous, and thank you for all you do, Mindy.
Thank you.
Sometimes things come at us that is a necessity to spend some money on, but it's a necessity to echo what Paul said on this as well. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Next we have Brian Douglas, Health Department.
Good morning, everyone. This morning I have 2 items to present. And the first one, we're seeking approval for Dr. Matthew Sampson to serve as our tuberculosis control physician. He'll provide clinical evaluations and develop a treatment and prophylaxis plan for each case.
Brian, do you see an uptick in TB by any?
Yeah,
do you?
we are. It's especially with latent TB.
Mhm.
Latent TB is those that have been diagnosed, but they have no symptoms, and they're unable to spread infection. But if it's untreated, that it can become infectious and full-blown TB. So we've been seeing a lot of that.
Well, what do you think is the reason for that? You have any idea? Life?
I just think we have a new population, you know, coming into our area, and a lot of them just aren't vaccinated.
Any other comments?
Just a question. Thank you for this, and the $500 a quarter is certainly reasonable for managing a program. My question is most of the testing done in relationship to the food handling permits, or how do you intercept and identify people? Because you don't have like a TB clinic where you just open the doors and say, you know, we're testing for TB today.
We do. We actually have a TB clinic every Monday. Yes, we do. And the majority of the folks that do come in are with healthcare, are nursing students, healthcare, and so on. And we have a clinic every Monday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Very good.
And then they come back Wednesday afternoon for us to read the results.
Okay. So healthcare and food handling are the 2 major intercepts. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I'm pleased that this is such a necessary program. And appreciate our health department and the state for helping to fund it. I'd go ahead and make a motion that we do approve the agreement with Dr. Matthew Sampson as a TB control physician.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, unanimous. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks. And secondly, we're seeking approval for the Title V Maternal and Child Health, which is the family planning program, and the Public Health Improvement IGA Amendment number 4. Basically, it's just ADHS has updated our health department's fiscal year 24-25 budget. The amounts are the same, but the line items have changed a little bit.
Discussion? Comment?
No.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the maternal and child health and public health improvement IGA.
And I'll second the motion.
Make that unanimous. Thank you, Brian.
All right, thank you.
Next, we have a very special guest with us today, Edward Nippy Feldhake. All right, podium's yours, sir. I just want to say I want to thank him. He's very diligent on this project and dedicated to it, and he always takes the time to come up here and explain to us what this is about. And it's very much appreciated. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And I put my official request to each of the board members. Welcome. I want to say hello to everybody. What I'm asking for is the board to approve the 45th Mount Graham Hill climb. This is my 27th year as director. Over the past 26 years, we've had about 3,000 cyclists. The last 3 years, we've run we're averaging about 90 cyclists. I just looked up on our webpage. There's only 11 events throughout the state at this time as a cycling events. So cycling has really taken a hit for whatever reason. There's only 3 road races. This is considered a road race. We start at milepost 115, right by the prison, and the cyclists ride up to Snow Flats, 135. So the main event is 20 miles, and that's about 70 of the 90 riders. The other one is a little bit shorter that Clay, since he's the new person on the board, may want to enter, is the 10 mile. Although we don't allow horses, I'm sorry about that. Is the 10 mile, which stops just before Arcadia. I'm proud to do this race. I enjoyed it. When I was riding, I enjoyed the hill climbing. The thing that I also am proud about is I've used the Best Western for the whole time that I've been here. I use local pieces. I just talked to the sheriff about trying to use his deputy instead of a DPS guy coming from who knows where, because they're having trouble getting deputies. The other place I used to use the prison, but I guess the warden doesn't want us anymore. So we jumped across the street for the parking to use the Mount Graham Observatory parking area, which is really nice. So basically that's in a nutshell. The date, I forgot the date, it's September 22nd. It's a little later this year, but I'm gonna be in Paris for 2 months, so it gives me time to organize and get back.
Any comments, questions for Nippy?
We killed a 3-foot rattlesnake on that road at mile marker 116 this morning, so keep
Hey,
your
that's
eyes
part,
open.
that's part bears and animals, that's part of the event.
Yep.
It's a road hazard.
Yeah.
I have had an opportunity, I took the opportunity to go out and for the beginning of the race, and it's amazing. You bring people in from all over the state and the region. It's great for our community. It's one of those foundational annual events, and I'm hoping, I wish you continued good health and longevity, and I hope that you've got someone else when you finally say I've had my last hill climb, that you'll have another person, because this deserves to continue on, and we're pleased to provide facilities here and support that, and wish you continued best wishes and success with this. Thank you.
I did forget that I'd also like to use this room for our awards after the event.
Yep.
And I haven't found anybody yet, so that means I gotta keep doing it.
Well, it's a Sunday event, and so it's the room is usually available, but we'll pending a quick check, we'll be glad to make this available.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and make a motion then, Mr. Chairman, that we go ahead and approve the holding the 2024 Mount Graham Hill Climb 45th annual on September 22nd, 2024.
I'll second that motion.
And you have a good time in Paris. That sounds like fun, so, and I'll make that unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we have a chance for all of us to present a little bit of something of what we've been going on to last few weeks. It's been very busy. First up, we have our county manager, Mr. Dustin Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We've been working diligently on the budget and year end. Julie and Jennifer finished out the year last night on June 30th and closed out the books, worked several hours over the weekend, and did a wonderful job. It's always good to finish out a year and start another. We will continue our budget discussions today and our final work session budget. And then on July 15th, we'll present to the board a preliminary budget for adoption. Our final revenue numbers came in strong. We were happy to see our local sales tax finish up from last year, just a little over 5%. State shared was actually a little bit down, but almost completely flat. So numbers came in well as far as revenues for the year. And as we look forward to next year, we'll see where we go. We will be conservative in our projections and continue forward. One really good project news that we received last week was for broadband. We've been advocating for months with the governor's office to be able to push through our Pima Eden Fort Thomas broadband project with Valley Telecom, and that project we are hearing is a go now. That project cost is $5 million. The county's match, and what we're looking at getting from that is some connectivity from Thatcher to Pima, which is a huge benefit to us. And our match that we've budgeted in there is $200,000. So a lot of bang for our buck, and we're grateful to see that effort go through. A lot of effort. Some smaller projects over at our ag building. We've been working in partnership with livestock to get a concrete floor poured in there. That started last week, and our goal is to have that done before the fair, so that should happen for sure. Last week, we also had 6 members from the Secretary of State come down, including their chief deputy, and we performed our logistics and accuracy test. I know the board's familiar with that, but for the rest, maybe just a short explanation. We have all our ballots prepared and ready to go for the primary election, and before we're able to go live with that, the Secretary of State's required to come down and do a test on all of our equipment, our tabulators, our central count machine, our electronic voting and everything. They basically take our ballots, fill them out, and then so they know exactly what they should say, run them through the machines, and when they come out, they have to be 100% accurate, which they were. So it took us about 2 or 3 hours to do that. They also listened to the languages. We're required to have the ballots available in Apache and Spanish, so they have individuals listening to that to make sure that's accurate. Anyway, it's a fairly extensive test, and we were happy to pass that. We had some observers there too, which was great, and it just went really well. So we are ready. Actually, today begins voting. Correct, Hannah? Mail-in. Don't the ballots go? The mail-in ballots go out today? No, I have that wrong. Where are you, Polly? Is it Wednesday? Okay, it's Wednesday this week. Sorry, not today, but Wednesday. The mail-in ballots will go out. So we are amongst the primary election as we speak. Other than the many budget items that we'll talk about today, that's my report for now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dustin. Next up, Paul, would you like to go, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Busy couple weeks. 2 weeks ago, Monday, after a meeting, I traveled to San Carlos. Just to the north of San Carlos, near Tocalay Lake, is the beginning of what's going to be 40 miles on the Apache San Carlos Reservation, 40 miles north to the Black River, and then they'll be meeting a line coming from White River, and they'll be putting in a fiber optic line that whole distance. It'll be interesting to see how they go across the Salt River Canyon. But that is a project that has been funded. Will provide some very needed service, and will help to unify those two reservations, because historically, other than they would, the people during the wintertime, the people up north would come down south, and in the summertime, the people south would go north. So but with the reservations, they've become geographically separated, so it's kind of nice. Came back and attended a surface water standards webinar, ADEQ, just trying to see what they're planning to do and how much they're ratcheting down surface waters and what the ramifications it could have for our county. And that evening there was a reception, United Way funded the Desert Cat Rescue, gave a grant, and they hosted, we hosted United Way. The next day, Seago Transportation Coordination meeting. Our county health department manager, Brian Douglas, went. There was a training on transportation and homeland security and threats that have evolved and continued to evolve. And so that was a good meeting. Also, our county manager and I were able to visit with the Arizona State Land Department as well as a member of the governor's office on making some progress on Little Hollywood, getting those parcels transferred or auctioned off so that they can be useful and not just be an area to accumulate trash and blight. Following day, I traveled, but went to several meetings that afternoon, and on the Friday ended up the week with the end of session wrap up, just a briefing from about the legislature from County Supervisors Association. Following week, actually chaired a conference for Rural Transportation Advisory Council or Advocacy Council, and this was they've got a Rural Transportation Summit coming up, and also they're pivoting following the legislature's healing the budget by taking about $400 million out of state transportation projects. And then to wrap up the week, the last Wednesday, attended the hospital, their community partner planning event, and had a good discussion, and didn't realize that how closely the college with their nursing program and with their clinic that they're planning to put together and their other courses, how critically intertwined they are. And that was while I can't campaign for a proposition to be on the ballot, I would just ask that people carefully look at the EAC's proposition on the ballot and read that carefully. And then finally ended the day with a heat relief webinar, and this was different, everything from the Salvation Army to the cities of Tucson, Phoenix, what they're doing with heat relief for people who are, whether it's a homeless person or someone whose air conditioning went out, how they can get some relief. Some places are using libraries. Our library is only open 4 days a week, and probably is not set up to accommodate those kinds of people at this time. But there's an opportunity, and I know that the Samaritan House it does have some heat relief working for homeless people, but the challenge is getting them from where they're at to there, especially if they're overheated. Walking a couple miles from the river to there will not benefit them. Finally, ended the week with there's U.S. Forest Service is proposing an old growth forest. In fact, it's not proposing, it's a executive order from the Biden administration not only to protect what they consider old growth forests, but then also forests that have the potential, which is everywhere, to go from medium to big trees, and some people see that as as overreach, that they're trying to turn more of our forests into, in essence, wilderness areas. And so just monitoring that and providing some comments, and because it has the potential to impact our forests. And finally, there was a meeting, an organizational meeting for a Lions Club, the 5K, 10K run and ride that'll happen in October after the fair. That's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor David. Supervisor Mack, Vice Chairman Mack.
I don't have a lot to add. I did attend a Safford City Council meeting on the 24th. Pretty exciting to hear some of the things that Safford City Council has going on and some of the projects they're working on with us. We had our budget hearing meetings. Just want to thank everybody for their hard work and getting their budgets together, and especially Julie and Jennifer for the amount of time that they put into that. It's a lot of work and a lot of numbers, but that's all I have, Mr.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll be brief. I attended a Safford Downtown Association meeting at the theater the other night. Give you an update on the theater. It's moving quite rapidly now. Walls are going up, stucco being done, seats being put in. It's moving rapidly. Hopefully, we'll finally get that thing done. And on the 20th, I traveled to Flagstaff to a state transportation meeting. On the 21st, I stopped by coming back from Flagstaff to the dedication of the new Tonto Bridge down in Tonto Basin, which is quite a bridge. It's probably twice as long as our Safford Bridge, and it really opened that country up for the citizens down there to expand their real estate investment and saving lives as well. So that was a neat event to attend. There was quite a few state dignitaries there. It was good visiting with all. And I also attended on the 26th the hospital breakfast there that Paul was talking about. I just want to also thank and reach out and thank Hannah and Dustin and IT for the job they did on last week's election. I guess you call it election preparation, but you guys do an amazing job, and Graham County is kind of the shining gem of our elections, and we seem to never have any stumbles, or if they do, they're very minor. So thank you very much coming up this election season. That's going to be very important, so thank you. And that's all I have. So next, we'll close the regular meeting and go into a public hearing. Mr. Steve.
Morning.
We've got 3 similar hearings this morning. We'll start with rezoning 900-24, parcel number 105-08001. This is basically 75 acres of an 80-acre parcel. Request to zone this from A to M for general manufacturing / mining, I guess that's where we stick mining, for a gravel pit. I think that's the parcel beside this. Can you turn the zoning on?
Yep.
This is the parcel we're dealing with right here, not that one. I don't know if we got a wrong number, but we're zoning all of that except this MX piece down here in the corner. The applicant is Ron Howard, and he wants to bring the property into compliance. He's been processing some gravel in there. I'll be wrong if I say he's not here, but if you guys have questions about it, I'd be happy to try and answer them. You're all familiar where this is at, east of Bryce.
Anything?
Mr. Chairman, I just would make a comment. I appreciate these 3 hearings that we're having today, items in the hearing, for bringing parcels into compliance. This is an activity that has been ongoing, and in order for, according to our planning and zoning director, in order for the state to be able to look into and ensure that they're, as a mining operation, that they're safe and compliant, that it has to be zoned accordingly. And so this rezoning is actually a step forward into what was unregulated to having some state oversight and as well as it just being the zoning being correct. So I appreciate that, and that comment I'll extend that comment to all three of these parcels as that's what we're doing today from what I can understand. And so it's aggregate is critical, and if you are skeptical about that, look what they're doing in the metropolitan areas. They're having difficulty because of the mining, and some areas get mined out, these areas with alluvial fill, and it's important for everything from concrete to building pads to highways and infrastructure. So it's this is, it doesn't have the same kind of glamour that copper mining does, but it's an extraction process necessary for our growth.
Any other comments? Get a motion on this? Well, is there any opposition then?
We got no opposition. In fact, we got no comment whatsoever on any of the three.
I'll go ahead and start, Mr. Chairman. I'll make the motion, and this. Oh, did you have a question?
Is there anybody from the public that
Thank
wants
you,
to speak on this? Excuse me. Seeing none, now I could entertain a motion, please.
Thank you for keeping me from being out of order. I would move that we go ahead and approve the zoning rezoning request 900-24 for parcel number 105-08-001, the 80 acres for Mr. Howard.
I'll second that motion.
Make that unanimous.
Thank you. The next one is a 40-acre parcel, rezone 901-24. Parcel is 10601-286. Lori Reinhardt is the applicant. This parcel is on Golf Course Road. It's, I don't know how old this bit is. It's predates me by quite a bit. But she just wants to bring it into compliance also.
Same issue. Any comments?
I'll make a motion that we.
We've got to wait for public.
Any public comments out there that we need to be heard? Hearing none? Now, go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we approve the rezone 901-24 on parcel number 106-01-286 for 39.9 acres for Ms. Reinhardt.
I'll second the Vice Chairman's motion.
Make that unanimous.
Thank you. And the last one being rezone 902-24. Parcel number is 107-39016A. This is 75 acres in San Jose. This is down off the hill from the prison. Applicant is Denny Swap. He's here if you have questions for him. This is a relatively new gravel pit in relation to the rest of the other three that you'll hear about, but he also wants to bring it into compliance so he can get it opened up and get to work. So if you have questions, he's here for that.
Discussions?
And no opposition?
No opposition on any of them.
Thank you for your work on each of these. Being in contact with people and finding out what their concerns are, and then relaying that. This is a two-step process. You've already done a lot of the lifting in the Planning and Zoning Commission, and we'd be ungrateful not to acknowledge their efforts and the time that they donate in taking care of this. And I'm assuming their recommendation was supportive?
Yes,
Okay.
all of them were.
Very good. That's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
Any comments from the public? Anybody wish to speak on this? Seeing none, could I get a motion?
I'll go ahead and make that motion in the rezoning application 902-24 for parcel number 107-39-106A, the 75.1 acres proposed to rezone from current A to M for swap construction. I would move that we approve this request.
I'll second that.
I'll gladly be unanimous on that.
Thank you, guys. I'd just like to say, per Supervisor David's comment on how hard we worked, these applicants all immediately applied as soon as we asked them to. So it made it easy.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, we will now close the public hearing and go back to our regular meeting. And is there any call to the public out there that wish to speak on anything? Anybody online? Okay, thank you. Okay, so that will do us for today. So I will adjourn this meeting.